And we are live. Welcome to another episode of Deal Flippers. Today, we are here with el señor Roberto Greger, the flip-flop flipper himself, and myself, Adán.
Hola, Adán, ¿cómo está?
Bien, ¿y tú?
Bien.
¿Cómo va las clases de español?
You just went through the whole alphabet with me. That's all I've got.
All right.
I could order coffee.
You can order coffee.
Let's jump in to the Deal Flippers. We're flipping deals, guys. We're doing real estate. That's what this channel's all about. If you like talking about real estate and especially like talking about things going on in the island of Puerto Rico where we prefer to invest all of our time, efforts, and dollars. And we are hopefully flipping the deal that we talked about last week. And we're going to talk about it again this week. Some exciting developments have happened over there in the neighborhood of Rio Piedras. It's a rapidly improving area. There's lots and lots of empty buildings, and we're noticing that things are being renovated. And it's just something that we like to see, where building by building, units that have been empty for years are now coming online. And I want to talk today, Adán, about what we learned in the neighborhood as we went around the other day. And the guy we met who was amazing, Gabriel, who's a local.
Gabriel Acosta.
He's a local investor. He's a fourth generation Puerto Rican. And he and his family are investing in this area since the 90s, guys. They've been investing in this area since the 90s. And so he was a wealth of information. He took us all around the neighborhood there of Santa Rita,
Rio Piedras.
Santa Rita, Rio Piedras.
So if you know anything about that area, Santa Rita is like the closest neighborhood to the university.
Right.
And that's one of the biggest universities here on the island. It doesn't house because they don't have dormitories or anything like that. They took those out a couple years ago. But the student population there is 30,000.
So there is a shortage of student housing because they've got 30,000 kids, and there really are a lot of vacant buildings that just aren't being used. And so because of that, there's a need in this area to take these buildings from just sitting vacant and sitting empty, where they're very distressed, they're not livable. And so it kind of will artificially make rents high because there's so much that needs to be repaired. And so what I wanted to talk about is how the effect happens as you see buildings that have been sitting distressed and sitting vacant, as they get put into use, as they get furnished and fixed up and made to be nice and ready for someone to live in it, how it should stabilize the rental market. At least that's my belief. And I want to talk about that because go ahead.
Sorry. So before you break it, so what gives you the idea that putting more units on the market stabilizes? Like what gives you that assumption, or is that even something you should have seen historically?
No. So that's just economics 101, right? It's supply and demand.
Okay.
We have a massive demand and a very low supply. So what happens? That means that these units are being rented for a very high amount as they come on. They're going to continue to be rented for a high amount until the demand reaches up to where it gets level with the supply, and then it can level off. That's just the way that economics works, right? I mean, that's how economies are made.
So do you think the prices would go like really low, or will they just stabilize to a high point?
Yeah, so I think what happens is that things will rise while there's a low demand. As demand or while there's a high demand, things will rise while there's a low supply. As supply increases, then the prices are going to level out.
Okay.
And so could you get to a point where you have more supply than demand, and then the rents start to come back down? You could get there for sure. That happens in areas, and it could even happen here. But I think there's such a shortage that you have a long way to go before you figure out where the fair market is, right? Like, so rents are clearly rising. I mean, the guy told us what he's going to rent those units for, and it was, for me, it was more than I thought that we would get.
Yeah.
We've got 12 units around the corner, and then you and I have this other house with 4 more units. We weren't talking about renting things for that number.
And here's a question, like, do you take into consideration those numbers when it's just a single family or a multifamily, or does it matter? You know, am I going to put a multifamily out there? Obviously, it makes more sense because you're going to bring the more units into the market, so you can ask for better rents. But if you bring a single family in, will that count? Kind of like, that's the question we're asking now, right? If you're doing it for students, then students don't really mind sharing common areas and having a private room.
Yeah, so
but
that
if
you
it's
can
a big
keep economies
family,
of scale, and then it's cheaper for them.
exactly.
I think every time a unit gets put back into use, it should help with the supply problem, and we need to fix a supply problem more than anything else. I mean, that's why. So we had a terrible storm. We lost a lot of housing, and then there's just this generational kind of decay where things have sat empty for a long time. And so by investors like this kid that we met and others like us, I mean, we're taking units that have just been sitting there and no one's living in them, and we're putting them on the market.
Yeah.
So that should increase the supply. It will increase the supply. It obviously does increase the value of the neighborhood, which is nice as well.
Which is getting really
Things
good.
start to look a lot better. People start to feel better about living there. So does it make things more expensive? It certainly makes things cost more to sell and stuff. But I think that as we take a 4-unit that you've got under contract right now, and it gets purchased and then it gets renovated, and instead of one family living in one of the units, 4 families living in 4 units. So you've increased 300% on the one house. You've increased an extra 3 units. 3 families get to live there. So eventually supply catches up, everything evens out.
So here's my
sound
question
market.
with, and this is comparing Orlando, let's say, to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
But in Orlando, there's not such a big housing need like there is down here, but rents keep going up there. So like, how can you?
Well, I think Orlando's growing rapidly.
Okay.
Right? So Puerto Rico's growing slowly, but Puerto Rico is growing steadily right now.
Yeah.
For the first time in a long time, which is a beautiful thing. Orlando market has been growing rapidly for a long time, and there is still things being built every year.
Yeah.
Constantly. In Puerto Rico, we had this 10-year horrible recession from the banking crisis of 2008, lasted all the way through 2017 or 18. And so there was no building going on the island. There were no units coming on. There wasn't even a lot of investment in old units, right? So the stuff that we're buying now isn't really hurricane damage. This is stuff that just has been sitting there out of use for a decade, maybe longer.
Yeah, no, and that neighborhood, for example, I was talking to some other realtors trying to get an idea, like after repair value for the building we have under contract, and they say a neighborhood like this is where you have the oldest generation probably living in, and obviously we can talk from experience. People buy those houses, bought them in 1940, 1950s, 1960s, and they are living there probably until they leave this life and pass it on to the next of kin, and until that doesn't happen, that moving forward, those places might not change for much. And it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world, but you'll see a slower progress there, because until that unfortunate event happens, then and I don't want to think about it just like that, but it's nicer than it was 20 years ago. I can tell you right now, it's nicer than 10 years ago. I used to hang out in that area, and all you see was bums running up and down, crazy weekends, a lot of good partying down there. But it was like you have to keep eyes on the back of your head because you never know what's around the corner, right? But now it seems like way safer. You see, especially on the street, the houses, which is Calle Madrid, you see on that street 3 buildings getting completely fixed. They're getting completely new air conditioning, internet, new walls, new bathrooms, everything. Some of these students, I never had a great place like that when I was living.
And it's the same story too, right? These were vacant buildings that were sitting there. No one's living in them. They're being renovated. The streets are looking good. When I came 5 years ago, Rio Piedras was a ghost town.
Yeah.
I remember driving through it going, wow, this is a really good looking little area. And there was no one there. There wasn't one shop open. There wasn't anyone walking around. There was no commerce going on.
Yeah, well,
fast forward 5 years now, we need to go do a video of this and how much this area is thriving, because it's really doing well, right? It's amazing what has happened over the last, and that's a very short period of time, 5 years, to see. There's college kids everywhere, and they must have been living elsewhere 5 years ago, or maybe 5 years ago when I first went, the power was still out, and so they just weren't out. But there's coffee shops, there's restaurants, there's businesses, there's hotels, there's shops, right? There's people selling goods and services and everything. It's a thriving economy. It's really changed a lot.
No, and the market is coming up. You're seeing like weekend markets. You're seeing people selling what was it, chotskis? You know, little cakes and stuff like that, and people doing live shows in the plaza. Like when you start seeing that, especially at odd hours at the night, that means the area is starting to get safer. You're not walking around with this thought in your head that like something might happen here. And not only that, now there's a police presence there. Like it feels like you can walk around any time of the day, and it
feels like a college
in a good
town
place.
To me. To me now, it feels like a really cool, fun college town. And when I was there 4 or 5 years ago, I didn't even know there was a college in the town. So you didn't know because you didn't see any bodies. There were no people at all.
So we got a question here, and before we get to this question, guys, if you have any questions for Robbie or for myself, put them in the chat. And before you do that, please give us a like, please subscribe. Let us know that you're enjoying this type of content. We're really
how many people are in watching us right now? Can we tell?
There are 4. There's 3 on YouTube, so we really thank you.
So 3 likes. We need 3 likes. We need right 3 now.
Likes.
We got
and the guy that's on Facebook, you're the best, man. Margie Guzman, killing it. So here we go. Let's get into the question. Samuel.
Are we concerned about the population decline in Puerto Rico? You're from Pennsylvania and would love to buy an Airbnb property. Would there be reliable management companies to manage it for me? So the population decline in Puerto Rico has stopped, at least for now. So through 2009 and then into 2020 and 2021, we've had a positive physical, like more people coming to the island than leaving the island. So that's the first time that we've had a population growth in well over a decade. And I think it declined for some ridiculous amount of time, like for 30 or 40 years, the population was declining every census.
The most massive one also was when Maria hit. You know, there was just a big
when
exodus.
Maria hit, there was an exodus. I can remember, honestly, I think I was the only lunatic who was flying to Puerto Rico at the time. Every other plane was coming away from the island, and we're flying in.
$40 a ticket. I'm going.
And it was pretty cheap, right? They were like, we got to get the planes over there to get the people off. So if you want to come, it's basically free.
Yeah, get in. All right. Hey, Chance. Thank you so much for liking our stuff. And as to the management side of things, of course, there's a management company here. You could talk to Robbie, and he can give you a couple references all around, or even myself. That's what I do down here for the most part. Besides the production side of things, I help PR consultants with all their Airbnb management and whatever else they need. And there's plenty of people here.
Send us an email. Send us an email at the flipflopflipperpr@gmail.com. The flipflopflipperpr@gmail.com, and we can connect with you. Either you can talk to Adon about managing a property for you, or we've got lots of other people that we're friends with, and we're happy to recommend to people. So Airbnb, there are management companies for it. I would say that it's probably easier to find a good Airbnb management company on the island right now in Puerto Rico than it is to find a long-term rental management property management company. So
found out the hard way.
We found out the hard way. We tried a few times, didn't go well for us. We took over all of our long-term rental management, and it's gone much better. So we have about 60 or 70 long-term rental units across the island, and we stay fairly high rates. Like we're in the 90% occupied, and when we were using the local property management company, we couldn't get tenants. I don't know why we couldn't get tenants, but
was there any reason? Like
I honestly don't know. I think we just probably hired the wrong companies, but
I mean, you guys definitely did it, because I remember with you when I first met, we were trying to get those Gawa properties rented.
Yeah,
I'm not the guy.
You tried.
I tried.
It's not easy.
I tried,
right?
But it's like,
yeah, our assistant Angelica,
there.
she's been great. She gets stuff rented right away, and yeah. So Airbnb property management companies, there's a bunch of good ones on the island.
So now, no, kind of bringing it back to the, I don't want to say it, well, it is a housing crisis, right? But so besides multifamilies and having more rentable units on the island,
yeah,
what do you think of single families? Do you think there's still a market to try to bring as many single families into the market to get people into them, or rent them full out? But I would like for people to own their own things, you know?
Yeah, and Puerto Ricans love home ownership, right? Like, so in a normal economy, Puerto Rico has one of the highest home ownership numbers across the board in the U.S. So it's always really high. Like it's a big thing. In fact, when the economy gets better, you know this, families, they don't just own one house. They'll buy 2 or 3 houses, right? They got one in San Juan, and they'll have one in Ponce and one in Rincon.
Yep.
They're buying multiple houses when times are good. Times have been tough for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think that what we try to do on this channel is to let the world know that times aren't as tough anymore. There's a lot of opportunity in Puerto Rico, and we're inviting people every day to come back to your island. If you're Puerto Rican and you left for opportunity in the States and you want to come back, now is a great time to come back. There's opportunity here. I've been doing shorts all day long where I've been showing construction going on, and construction is a good sign of what an economy looks like. And you know, going to a restaurant and seeing that. Last night we went out to eat dinner, and the place is packed, right? Yeah. We have a very good economy right now. We have a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity in housing because there has been a housing shortage. And now that we have a population growth, it puts more pressure on that. So
what do you say to the person? Because I saw, you know, obviously I'm going to see all your shorts, but I saw a person say, yeah, construction is all good and well until a hurricane comes. And I wanted to reply, it's just, if you're talking about a hurricane like Maria, then yeah, we're all kind of fucked. But even then, for the most part, the hurricanes that have come before that have not been that drastic. And even Fiona was bad.
Well, I can say one thing about the buildings that exist here in Puerto Rico right now. Whoever built them did one hell of a job, because they don't go anywhere, right? I mean,
they're solid.
They are really solid. I mean, if some of the stuff that's near the coastline during Maria got crushed because the water came in, and you can't beat Mother Nature, but anything that's interior that is built of concrete, like this building that we're in, it's standing chilly, man. There really isn't a lot of hurricane damage.
It doesn't have to be concrete. I don't know what wood they use in Ponce, but when we went to go see a 12 unit over there, and we drove literally through a little section of town that was all wood.
Yeah.
And they were all standing with no broken roofs, no nothing. And you're just like, what do they have? What was the wood in 1940s like? Damn.
That was some strong wood, that's for sure. It is funny to me sometimes when we drive through the island and you see building after building kind of gone, and then there'll be this one little wood building that's just like, nothing happened.
Nah, but that was a nice breeze.
But I do think that part of the reason that we have a housing shortage is that there were some wood houses that didn't make it through the storm. But as far as the buildings here that are built in solid, like Puerto Ricans build out of concrete. We love concrete on this island.
Yes.
Like this is, my wife fights with our contractor Lewis because he always wants to put concrete on it, and it's just like, oh, give me some grass. Let's have some dirt.
We don't need grass.
And he's like, no, we need a little concrete there.
Yeah, no, that's.
But they're built so well. They're really really
inside the buildings. When I took those contractors to the penthouse that you're modeling, they're like, yeah. So we take out this wooden wall and we put a concrete wall, and I'm like, wait, why are we gonna put a concrete wall?
Yeah.
What happened to gypsum board? What happened to sheetrock? Like, why don't we just use something a little bit lighter and easier to put in?
Yeah.
No.
That's
concrete.
what we work in. We work in concrete here, and that's what they know. And it's pretty cool because I can have a concrete wall built for less here than I can have a gypsum board wall built here. A lot of times because they just don't work with the material. Go to Florida and it's the exact opposite, right? If I ask a crew in Florida to build a wall of concrete, oh my God, how do we do that? You know?
Yeah, it's gonna be $1 bajillion.
Hold on, let me call Lewis. I'm gonna fly him back over here.
It's cheaper to fly him in.
He'll have it done in 2 days.
So here's a question. So we have another question from Michael K. We'll get to that. I just have one more. Here, if we were to take on trying to fix all the single families, just talk about single families.
Yeah.
On the island right now, do you think we would like flooding the market with single family new renovations and all that stuff? Would that affect the market? Would that bring the price down or bring it up? Because that's the thing I'm hearing now. Oh, you can't buy a house for under 190. You can't do this. You can't do that. Yeah, that's what the news is saying.
I know.
And it's just like, that makes no sense.
They also say you can't find a good deal. And where are you looking? There's a lot of
Zillow.
really good houses that are out there for sale that need to be fixed up. And people tell me every day, oh, I can't find anything. And then because I don't always look, I'll get in the car with you and we'll go look. And I'll be like, I don't know. Where are these people that are supposed to be real estate investors, right? Where are they looking? Like they must just look on Zillow and all they see is, I don't know, multi-million-dollar houses in Dorado or something. But,
I mean, I could tell you, I've been looking. So I actively stop looking until we get this deal done because I just don't want to find the next one too soon and get tied up, right?
Well, you've heard me say that a lot of times. If I don't want to find the next deal of a lifetime, I have to stay home.
Yeah.
I have to stay home.
And it has been like that. But compared to last year we were in the car every day.
Yes.
Every day we were riding somewhere. But the point is, like, I have seen like at least 10 to 20 deals I would have called on already to try to just put my number in there and just see where it goes from there. And it's like you said, I don't know what they're looking, because I look at Zillow and Zillow's the prices are inflated and most of the things are off market. But if you concentrate on using all the tools that you have, Facebook Marketplace, Clasificados, go in a drive, which I like doing, just going on, hey, I want to look at this area. We'll see if I see a for sale sign and go from there. Like, there shouldn't be an excuse. There's plenty of broken down houses here that need the love.
There's also houses. So we're going to close on one this week, coming up next week. We're going to close on a house in Barceloneta. It's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, at least 2,200 square feet. It's a big house for a family that's going to move in there. They're getting an FHA loan. It passed all of the inspections. We're selling it at $125,000. So 125 grand, 2,200 square foot, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath house in a decent area too. I mean, and you've seen the house.
Oh, and we got a video on it,
guys. I call it my favorite flip. We tried to get more money for it, to be honest, but we ended up selling for $125,000, and we're really happy that there's going to be a family who lives in that house. And now that particular house, we've heard, sat vacant for more than 10 years, right? So it's not on the market. It's not being rented to anybody. It's not being lived in by anybody. It's just sitting there in decay. And we bought it from a bank at the auction, and we fixed it up. It took us a long time to do it because we started doing some other stuff, but we fixed it up, and now it's going to go to a new family who's going to live there, and they're going to have a whole lifetime of experiences and good times hopefully in this house, God willing. I mean,
and it's a new place.
Yeah, and it looks great.
Yeah,
right?
it came out really good.
It's blue.
It's blue.
It is pretty though. It is pretty.
It's blue. It's got a fresh roof. It's got an interesting layout, but I mean, it's comfortable for a big family.
3 stories, right?
Yeah.
Like, so you've got it is an interesting layout. It kind of is built up the mountain, so you have 3 stories of house, but it's big and it's beautiful.
Go check out the video, the greatest flip ever on YouTube, or the best flip.
I don't know.
It's something like that. I'll put the link up somewhere so you guys can click on it if you give me 2 seconds. Let's start answering this question.
And the reason why that video, I called it the best flip ever, was that we did that with a group of people. So people who'd never been real estate investors before came alongside of each other. They put in what they had, and we got it renovated. We got it sold. We're all going to make some money. It's
and they were all newbies. Like, they didn't know anything.
All new. Yeah.
And you just put them to the test.
Yeah. We had locals. We had people from out of the island.
Yeah.
Everybody came together, bought the thing together.
And they all worked together.
Yeah. And everybody worked together to get it done.
That's awesome. Here we go. Michael K.
I have a property in Old San Juan. What's the approximate cost per square footage to renovate a 1,200 square foot apartment? Let's see. I have installed 2 bathrooms with new pipes. Whew. It's tough for me to say what it costs to renovate a house I haven't seen, but a general ballpark figure is probably between $30 and $50 a square foot. If you're putting in kitchens and you have expensive tastes, or you have a wife with expensive tastes, it can get significantly higher. I will say, if you own a house in Old San Juan, congratulations, because Old San Juan has gone absolutely bonkers. Like, they're approaching sales in that little part of the island at $1,000 a square foot.
You're talking about Old San Juan, like that?
Yeah, Old San Juan. Is that what he said? Old San Juan?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're down there in Old San Juan and you own something and you bought it a few years ago, you've done really well.
Yeah. He said, I should need a good ballpark when I ask for quotes. I always get quoted higher when they see I'm not a local. Well, honestly, the issue is working in Old San Juan can be really complicated. And if you have an old historical building, then you got to go by their code. Yeah. Then it gets super, super complicated. And
I think what he's talking about, it's called a gringo tax. It's true. I mean, it happens, right? We have a video out there where we're driving to see a property and the price increased by $1 million on the trip.
Yeah.
A 2 hour drive, and the price goes from one price to another, and it's $1 million more.
So when we started the trip, it was 1.2, and he's like, man, I think this is a deal. And by the time we're driving through the gate, it's like, oh no,
it's 2.5.
It's 2.4 now.
Yeah.
What do you mean it's 2.4? Yeah, he just changed his mind like 30 minutes ago. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck?
How do you protect yourself against that? I mean, have a lot of people bid it. You're going to pay more for anyone who works in Old San Juan, because they also know that the price of real estate has gone through the roof. And quite honestly, the price of renovations has gone through the roof. So materials are up. I was talking to our contractor today. He said it's been a roller coaster. They're up, they're down, they're up again. And cost of cement has gone down. The cost of steel has gone way up. So it's more expensive, significantly more expensive to renovate something this year than it was a year or 2 ago. And all I can say is in Old San Juan, get multiple bids.
Well, there you go, Mike. Okay. He says it used to be a warehouse. Now he's got to change it to an apartment.
Oh, yeah. You're going to spend some money.
Yeah. That's all you can do. So, would you buy a building in Old San Juan?
I haven't bought a building in Old San Juan.
But knowing everything you went through with the other...
Yeah. So we have a building that was deemed historical, and we had to go through a year worth of getting permits. It's not that I wouldn't buy a historical again. I would probably, but it's a difficult thing that you need to make sure that you're getting an extra good deal, because you're going to have longer period of time dealing with the historical stuff, getting the permits and all of that stuff.
Like, you have to plan longer,
and it costs more, right? And sometimes they tell you got to keep some really funky stuff. Like on our house, there's a tiled number for the house. We can get rid of that, but we can't get the tiled bird that's in there before.
Oh yeah.
This has nothing to do with history,
yeah.
right? This is just they're like, I like the bird, I don't like the numbers. You can get rid of the numbers, you can't get rid of the bird.
I think that I don't know what the significance is, but if you look at the older houses, they all have that tile, and it's always either like a Virgin Mary or a baby Jesus or a bird or something like that, and it has to be something. It has to be.
I kind of liked it, so I was like, let's
it's
just keep it all. I think it's cool.
Okay, we got another question here from Samuel. What are government regulations like? Hopefully they're not like California. No.
Nothing is like California, Samuel. If you're from California, I'm sorry. I'm from California too. All I can say is run. Get away from them. California is oppressive. Puerto Rico's not like California.
Puerto Rico's
not like
friendly.
New York even. Puerto Rico is business friendly, and it has recently become a little bit more difficult to get things through permitting, but I think that's because of the amount of things that are happening on the island, so it just takes a little longer. But Puerto Rico is generally, I think, has been a very good place to do business.
Yeah. I mean,
everything's slower, everything's more expensive, everything is a little harder.
Listen, I couldn't get my.
It's always been worth it. It's really always worth it.
I couldn't get my damn tag because I owed $2.25. I lost the whole 2 days because of $2.25.
So he had to wait in a line to get called a marbete for his van, and you have to do that every year.
Yeah.
Which is not a thing in Florida where I'm from. We used to do that when I was a kid. You have to get the car inspected and make sure that it's not
compliant.
And stuff, and it's in compliance. And over a $2 toll, you got turned away.
I'm so mad. So mad. Well, guys,
you lost the whole day.
I lost the whole day. Yeah, I was so mad that I woke up today thinking it was Tuesday, and I was like, man, today feels off for some reason. Well, all right. Well, guys, show us that you're liking this video. Show us that you're super interested. Ask us more questions. We're here for you. And so I want to make a couple announcements here real quick.
Sure.
So Mondays, here's our live schedule starting next week.
Starting Monday.
We're going to have entrepreneurs on Mondays. So on Mondays, we'll always have a dynamic entrepreneur on
the Flip Flop Power Hour, Monday night,
Flip Flop Power Hour.
Puerto Rico time.
And then on Wednesdays, we're going to do a Q&A session live. So if you guys have any questions, just like Michael and Samuel had, that you can bring to the chat, then you're more than welcome to. We're just going to be there to answer your questions. And it's more Robert than me. I'm doing the stuff in the background.
And I'll try and have a topic that we're going to discuss. But really, it's no holds barred. You can ask me anything. I'll do my best to answer it. And I'll tell you if I don't know. And sometimes even if I don't know, I'll say it like I know it, and then I'll tell you to check with your attorneys. But I try to give out the information as I've heard it the best that I can, and I'll let you know if I have experience with it. So
you spend plenty of money on attorneys, like for the most part.
We've done a fair amount of things, so there's a lot of things that we do know that we can answer, and I'm happy to do it. And you know what? If someone asks a question that really stumps us, then we'll go research it. We'll figure it out. We may not be able to answer it in the moment, but that's what this channel's all about. We want to give you as much value as we possibly can. Yeah.
And on Fridays, there'll be obviously us, the deal flippers here. And we'll always try to have an interesting topic and try to stay on the topic as much as possible.
Yeah. So we were going back to the topic. We're flipping a house, right? Like, so you got this house under contract. This is your third deal.
Yes.
Your third one of the year.
Yes.
And lo and behold, we're in a position where we could make money again.
Yes.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Good job, partner.
Well,
this was
I learned from the best
deal. So the first one that we're going to do the big rehab, we were kind of together on. The second one we had, and then Don liked it, and then we became partners on. This one was all you. Yeah. Pretty much all you. I was off island. You got very excited about it.
Yeah.
I showed up and was like, okay.
Listen, you got to go to more weddings and stuff during the year, because it's the only time I get to actually be in a car and drive around and be like, hey, look, that looks like a deal.
Yeah.
I was able to find it because I don't have to go shoot something right away.
Yeah.
Or we got to start driving around again. I think that's the key there.
Well, like you said, we'll sell this one, and then so I don't consider myself a wholesaler.
No.
But I do say that anyone who's in real estate long enough will be a wholesaler.
Yeah.
I encourage people that want to get into real estate. Maybe you start in wholesaling, but as quickly as you can, you want to buy the real estate and you want to own stuff. So we've got a house that we bought and then sold. We have a house that we bought and we're renovating and then we're going to sell. So a true traditional buy, fix, and sell flip.
Yeah.
And now we're doing, and this is 3 deals, guys. This is all since the start of the year. And Adon hadn't done anything last year, right? Like last year we went
Zero
around
real estate
all year long. At the end of the year, Adon was like, I want to be a real estate investor. And you're killing it. You're crushing it, bud.
You know, thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh,
it's really hard to take a compliment from it's hard for me to say thank you, but thank you. Well, and it's only because I was in the car that year with you and got to see and experience that, right there. I was like, man, like it's not hard. It's work, you know. And if you're willing to put the work in, then it just happens, and it works out. And obviously, it's a combination. Sorry, it's a combination of hard work, the perfect deal, the greatest deal you can find, and then the money comes. And then figure out that part. And I learned that from a guy on YouTube. You should go check him out. It's the Flip Flop Flipper in YouTube. Check him out. Subscribe. Don't miss out because we're putting new content every week. We're starting to build a team. We're going to have editors. We're going to have everybody here. We're just going to be a powerhouse. You're not going to be able to stop this guy. You're going to see him everywhere.
That is one of my major philosophies, is that money finds a good deal. So I really believe, and I've done things where I've commented on, are we in a deal first market or a money first market? You guys should always be doing both, right? Like telling people that you want to be in real estate, telling people that you're a real estate investor, letting people know what your plan is, that you're going to buy something, you're going to fix it, you're going to sell it, you're going to make everybody money. So you get people excited about that. And you're always looking for a deal. I believe that it's easier to tell someone about your deal, like you're doing right now with a deal that we're going to wholesale. It's just good experience. You've got it under contract. You're able to go and say, hey, look at this. I'm buying it. You don't have to even tell them what you're buying it, but I'm buying it for less than I'm selling it for. Yeah. And I'm going to make some money in between here, but it's still a really good deal for you. And here's why. And you've done a really good job of putting it out there. And now we've got a buyer that looks like we could sell it, and knock on wood, because you never know until the money's in the bank.
Until we got the non-refundable.
And here's the other part of it. While we're wholesaling this one, if something goes wrong and it doesn't happen, we're committed to buy it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's another philosophy of mine, is that I don't like to contract things that I'm not committed to buying.
100%.
And so over the years, the amount of times where I said I'm going to buy something and then not bought it really doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, no, that's exactly how I approached this deal.
Yeah.
You know, I went and looked at it. I'm like, all right, I think it's a possible deal. The second thing is, what's the highest and best use? What can we use this for? We could potentially do Airbnb, but I don't think the area is developed enough to get that type of guest in there.
Yeah.
What's the best and possible use? Long-term rentals. The university's right there. You're literally crossing the road.
Yep.
That's the next best step. All right, how low can I get this? And then
how much work does it need?
Yeah.
How do I put it back together and get it rented? Is that going to be enough of a return, and you back into something that you're excited about?
Yeah.
And if we have to buy it, even if we bought it, we could still sort of flip it to the next person. But if we had to fix it and renovate it and put it back on the rental market, that's fine.
Yeah.
Then we'll go borrow the money back out from the bank, and 100%. We'll just have a rental property there for the long haul, right?
Yeah.
So buying stuff or contracting stuff that you're excited about, and that I say you go to sleep with a smile on your face, because you're getting yourself something that's good, and you can wholesale it. You can partner with people. You have a conversation.
Yeah.
That's at the ready, right? Like, I'm a real estate investor. I've got this under contract, and we've got videos out about how to present and how to showcase your properties.
100%.
And I truly believe the money finds a great deal. And so that's what I suggest. It's a deal first market, always a deal first market.
And just to add what you were saying, like telling people about the deal and all it helps validate that you're understanding what you're learning, right? At least for me, it's like if I'm able to explain my deal to someone that has 30 years of experience and they understand, then I'm getting through and I'm starting to understand the craft and be able to present more and more and feel more confident walking in and being like, I think I got a deal for you or a deal for this or something.
And here's something else. If you had contracted it and everybody that you took out to see it told you that it was a terrible deal, that there was no way you could get what you're asking for it, then you start to say, okay, maybe I didn't get a good enough deal. That didn't happen in this case. Everybody who saw it saw the vision. It's easy to see it. And I say this all the time, guys. I say this all the time.
Oops.
Contract things that it's easy to show other people that it's a good deal, right? So get things under contract and then present them to other people in a way that it's very easy and clear for them to see why you're excited about it and why you think they can make money with it. If you can do that, you can be a real estate investor.
Yes. Sorry, I thought I commissioned the rendering. I still haven't got it, but I'll put it out next week. I thought I had it. All right, let's answer this guy's question. And guys, thank you so much for your interaction. Like the video. Let us know that you're enjoying this. Someone asked for the email. I put it up here. The email is theflipflopflipperpr@gmail.com. You'll get an answer from me or from Robert himself. And guys, we want to reach out to everybody. We want to make time for everybody. So it's easier if you email us if you want to get in direct contact with Robert or myself. So we're going to use this email address, the flipflopflipperpr@gmail.com. will be our primary way that we can interact with you guys on the regular basis. So every week we'll go to that email and we'll look through everything and we will respond. So that's you can get mad at us if you email us and you don't get a response. We're trying
right now. You have the right to say, damn it, Robert, you said you'd respond to me. I try to respond in all of the different social medias, but man, I mean, I get things all over the place and I need them in one central location so that I don't go insane.
Yeah, 100%. Here we go. From Johnny. How do you know is a deal a good deal? How would I go by running the numbers? Awesome question. Thank you very much for it. So what's a good deal? Depending on where you're at. This is a really good question, and I assume this is for I'm going to answer the question for people who are starting out in real estate, and I'll try and do it in a wide range so that if you're in the States, you'll get value out of this, and if you're in Puerto Rico, you'll get value out of this. So I'm going to answer it two ways. A good deal in the States, you can fairly easily determine the value of a house, and I'm going to answer this as let's say single family houses, right? So we'll just throw out the stuff we do in Puerto Rico where we're turning vacant office into hotel rooms. I'm going to say you're buying a single family house and you're in Florida, and you've looked at every house that's on the market in a zip code that you're interested in, and you know that this one house, this is an outlier. You're able to buy it cheaper than anything else. And this works in Florida and it works in Puerto Rico. In Florida, you have an advantage that you can go on Zillow and you can easily kind of determine what the value is. The Zillow will give you a Zestimate. In Puerto Rico, you don't get the Zestimate, but it's the same concept. Look at everything in a zip code. Look at everything in the area in which you want to buy. If you look at 10 or 15 houses, there'll be one or two that sort of stand out. You're generally speaking going to look for something that's a bit distressed, probably vacant, not looking as good as the other properties in the neighborhood. Those are sort of easy things to look at. And I would say if you are looking at something that's beautiful, in great condition, there's no reason that they're going to sell to a real estate investor. You have to have distress. So how would I go about determining that something's a good deal without knowing the price of anything? What does it look like on the outside? Is it distressed? Are their windows broken? Is the yard 6 feet high? Is the roof covered in a blue tarp? These are all indicators that there's probably some value, right? Like you're going to be able to buy it at a discount from what it would sell for in a very good condition. Now you have to determine what's it worth in a very good condition. And you need to do that in all markets, whether you're in the States or you're in Puerto Rico. And again,
it's much easier to do this probably in every one of the 50 states in the United States than it is in Puerto Rico. But let's talk about that for a second. If you look at Zillow and every house on the street is sold for $200,000 and they all look beautiful, and you can buy something for $100,000 that needs work, you can reasonably expect that when you're done and it's fixed up, it's going to sell for $200,000. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Right?
So what I would add to that, so it's different in the States because you can find data easier. You can find data
easier.
But something even you taught me in the first year is like, we drove past, so we're Robert gets calls all the time, and people call him all the time and say, hey, I got this, would you come and look at it? It's a deal for you, blah 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 blah. And we would drive that year, go over there, go look at it, and get there. And we're usually not always with a realtor, which is with someone that's selling it or something along the lines, right?
Yeah.
And they tell you, hey, I want $250 for it, and you're like, well, okay. And we would leave. You don't give an answer right there, not for the most part, not usually, but you always try to give them an offer, so if they want to move forward with something else, they do.
Yep.
But a lot of the time we would drive around that area we were looking at, whatever property you were thinking of buying, and find a for sale sign,
and we'd call on
by somebody else and maybe compare it. Maybe it's a better looking house than the one next to it. How much are they trying to sell that house for?
Yeah.
And that gives you a number, like maybe my after repair value can be this.
Yeah.
And if they're asking $250 and that house is worth $400 right next door and it's about the same, then maybe it's not a bad deal, you know. And you can kind of gauge it like that. And then you got to look for the other factors, like Robert said. Is there a tarp? Is there this? What area is it in? And go from there. And the hardest part for me, it's been for me when I go to these places, is knowing what it's gonna cost to fix, because I haven't gone through that yet. We've done 2 wholesale deals. And the one deal that I'm about to hopefully start the renovations on is the one that's going to give me the school I need to be like, all right, this is what it could cost. This is what this price can get me for this. So that's what I'm missing personally for me, and being like, all right, now I know this. All right, it needs a new roof, it needs new floorings, it needs this. All right, then maybe it's like $60,000. Does it add up that I still have enough money on the top to be like, all right, I'll get there. So that's why it's like when I showed you Rio Piedras, I wanted you to look at it because I know you are like counting windows, looking at floor. Are we ripping floors? Are we doing plumbing? Are we doing electric?
How many
doing
kitchens
this?
are we putting in? How many bathrooms are there that we're gonna have to gut and repurpose and put it back together?
Yeah.
How many walls do we have to knock down? How many do we have to build?
But you get that as time goes on, and you do more and more and more. Yeah, it's just a little.
We've done it. You know, they say you need 10,000 hours. I got 10,000 hours 30,000 hours ago.
Yeah. So here we go. We got another. No, but if you got 10,000 hours, that means you have 10,000 flips under that. You know, like you have, what was it, like 3,000-4,000 flips done in your 30 years? You know, like how many hours does it take? If you had to quantify it, how many hours does one flip take? If it's 60 to 90 days, how many hours a day are you working on that thing? Probably at least a minimum of 8. So,
I mean, somebody's working on it, at least that, right?
Yeah. Well,
whether it's you there all of the time or you have guys there and contractors and everything. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of man hours that go into
just with 90 days renovation. At 8 hours, you're talking about 720 hours just in that one project, you know?
And you should probably expect that you're going to have multiple guys on. When you're talking about man hours that goes into this stuff, it's an incredible amount. And that's not even to include how many hours do you spend driving around making offers on things that you don't get?
Yeah.
And how excited do I get when you make an offer and we don't get it? And what do I say? I'm just like, that's awesome. That means we're going to get the next one. Yes. So let's go.
He's like, I'm two offers got neglected. That third one is coming. You'll see. So here we got our friend Commodore.
Let me finish real quick about a good deal. I think if you can be into something all in with renovations, purchase and renovations, and be into it for 65 cents on the dollar is a really good kind of ballpark. That's a good deal. So if I can be into a $100,000 house for $65,000, I'm going to make some money. If I can be into a $200,000 house for double $65,000, $130,000, that's a good deal. So that's purchase and renovations.
Yeah.
And then you've got to take into consideration hold time and stuff like that. And if you're borrowing money, what's your cost of money? But that's really broad. If you can buy it right and renovate it right, and
if you're selling
be
with a
all in
realtor
at that 65 cents on the dollar, you probably got a good deal in most markets.
Yeah.
In Puerto Rico, I'd like to say let's be in it at 55 cents on the dollar.
Okay.
Buy it, fix it, 55 cents on the dollar to selling it, and you should feel really good about your deal.
All right, here we go. Got another question. Have you found it difficult to find buyers for wholesale deals in PR with the market / crypto being down affects liquidity? So
I'm going to answer this question with like a no. So we don't sell to the crypto market.
Yeah.
The houses that we've flipped in Puerto Rico have been to locals, and generally speaking, it's an FHA
buyer. It's a commercial. Yeah.
I mean, we're not selling houses in Dorado for $40 million.
Yeah.
We're selling their first time home for $135,000 to $165,000. FHA buyers.
Yeah.
It's your local guy who works at the grocery store. It's a police officer. It's the mailman. This is normal everyday people that are looking for a home for their family.
I agree, but I think he's talking more about the wholesale side of things, and what I think, we know a couple wholesalers down here, and the hardest part is making sure your contract just says, hey, this could be assignable, or this, or if you're gonna go through a wholesale route, then you might have to do a double closing. That's probably the harder part of things, and building a real estate investors list. Not only Robert, but there's a whole group of people, and not only from the mainland, there's a big local community down here that does a lot of real estate investing. Even your own realtors, some of these realtors, I spoke to a realtor the other day. All the realtors, I always tell them the same thing. Hey, I'm looking for my multifamilies. I'm looking for houses for me. I'm looking for a studio for us. Yeah. So we're not coming live from the IKEA kitchen.
So you got a lot of things on your want list.
Yeah. So I'm doing a lot of that stuff. And every time I talk to a realtor, I'm like, hey, if you got any distressed stuff or anything like that, let me know. I'm interested in buying it and fixing it. And he's like, yeah, that stuff comes, I keep it myself and I fix it and I flip it. And it's like, well, really? Yeah. And I'm like, well, in my head, it's like, okay, so you're a real estate investor. So if I were to have a wholesale deal that makes sense, then maybe it's up his alley, and be like, here you go. Maybe he's interested, and he's a realtor. He'll know. He'll be the one that'll be able to go and really tell you if it's a deal or not. Because he'll be like, all right, you're selling it to me for 40. That house over there is 200. All right, I could see the deal here. Here you go.
So I'm going to answer the question again, because I did kind of go with we're selling fixed homes to locals, but we have wholesaled a dozen or so over the last 5 years, and again, that's always been the local population. So it's not that we're wholesaling, but we're not wholesalers, guys. That's not my MO. I'm a value add investor. I buy real estate, right? I don't even like to sell it. We're going to do some wholesale deals because I'm trying to have Adon become a real estate investor, and I think wholesaling is a vital part of that. But generally speaking, and Adon, you know this, I buy stuff and we keep it, right? It's not, and honestly, or at least we buy it with the intent to keep it. And someone comes around and they want it more than we do, we'll sell some things. But.
Well, so far since the project in in Cerro Gordo, my intent has been to keep. Yeah, but something comes up and someone falls in love with the project more than I am and says, hey, I'll buy it from you. And it's like wholesaling, but unintentionally. Like, I have it under contract. I'm thinking of keeping it. I'm thinking of going through with it. But someone says, man, I would love that project. It's like, well, if you would love that project, how much would you pay? And sell the project forward. But it's like you said, if I go in thinking, would I live here? Would I keep this? Would I put my effort into making this happen? Then that's how I want to approach the deal. And maybe you can't approach all of them that way, but if at least makes it easier for me, because I don't want to go and try to put something under contract and give the illusion to somebody, hey, you're gonna in 30 days I'm gonna pay this house and this, and then halfway through it I can't find no one to sell it through, and either I try to get my deposit back or I lose my deposit. I don't want to have to go through that. I rather, if I'm giving you money, it's because
you're gonna close.
I want to close.
Yep.
I'll find someone to close with me. We'll partner, or I'll try to do some sort of loan, whatever it is, whatever way there is to do it.
That's a really good point that we should say right now. On this channel, we do this channel to give you guys value, but also to partner with you, right? So we expand our business and partnerships. Don and I didn't know each other 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
We partnered on this YouTube thing with the intent that he was going to give me his services, help me put out the content, and he does a great job with it. And I was going to help him learn how to be a real estate investor, and it's been a great partnership.
And awesome.
So we invite all kinds of different partnerships, and we would invite the people that are a member of this community to send us an email, get to know us, and partner with us.
I'll put the email up here real quick, and we're going to jump to another question. We got a couple more questions. Guys, if you have questions, put them in the chats. We want to answer your questions. So here we go. How did the deal in Rio Piedras end up? Looks like an awesome deal for somebody. So far, we've shown it the last 3 weeks to a bunch of people. And I think finally we
got an offer last night.
Yep, we
countered them. I think we're pretty close to having an agreement.
Yes. So it's really exciting. And it's like you said, it is an exciting deal because just because you can start it, the house has so much potential. You could start it out as student housing and get it cash flowing right away with the most minimal things to get it done.
Yep. And
from there, if everything in Rio Piedras just blows up and gets like to a point where it could be a tourist attraction, because that area is designated tourist for some reason, then you can go ahead and put up a wall and split the units and make just a badass Airbnb with a top deck, coin laundry, and it already has amenities, and the most perfect amenity that is like gold in Puerto Rico, parking. It has parking.
I would tell you I'm excited about it for a completely different reason. If we close on it and we just put long-term renters in there, students or families, whoever it is, the nicest thing that I like about it is that it fits the model, the one model where we can get debt and we can go and borrow the money through an FHA loan or through a VA or just a conventional loan. So it's a 4-family house or less, and you can borrow against that.
Yep.
We have a 12-unit building that's unbelievable. I love it. It's beautiful. And we're renovating it for the same reason, long-term rents, but it's going to be very difficult to pull the money back out of it. We went into this deal with a mortgage broker friend, and we thought we were going to rather easily be able to pull the money back out once we got it cash flowing, the debt coverage service ratio loans, and they've stopped that program. So liquidity is still a real big problem on the island of Puerto Rico. So that's what excites me. It's not that it could be another hospitality play. I just like that it's a great long-term rental play that we can pull the money out and then go do another one. And that's really the golden ticket, right?
Wow.
Owning stuff for a long, long time is a great way to do life.
Build wealth. Yeah. Here we go. We got another question. What is a good cap rate in Puerto Rico for when you purchase a property for Airbnb, a prime location as Condado or Isla Verde? Man, if you can get anything in there, you're the man, because it is tough now. I saw a studio the other day because I'm looking all around that area.
Yeah.
A studio was $350,000 that we're asking. I'm like, it's not even facing the water.
Wow.
It's just, hey, I walked down from the 3rd floor and there. It's like, it is tough to buy there.
If you can buy something on a 10 cap in that area, you're doing really well. So that isn't what we do. But if you're in Old San Juan or you're in Condado, Isla Verde, and you're buying a one-off apartment and you can make 10% on your money, you're probably doing pretty well. I would not recommend. Well, so Condado and Isla Verde is a little bit different. Maybe you can safely buy based off of Airbnb rates. I really like another play though, guys. I like buying something based off of like distressed office building that's vacant numbers and then turning it into an Airbnb. I know it's a lot more work and there's a little bit of risk to that kind of property or that kind of investment. But if you do that, you're going to consistently make much, much higher returns, right? So buying an established Airbnb in Isla Verde and Condado, that's not what we do on this channel. We do have friends that do that. I mean, JC Morales, he does that.
Yeah, he kills it.
He dude bought my house, paid a lot of money for it.
Yeah.
And I think if he makes 10% a year, he's going to be pretty happy. It's a lot. He'll be making a lot of money.
Yeah.
But he'll also get the appreciation and all of that stuff. But so that's not really our thing. We don't typically invest that way. But if you could do a 10 cap in those areas, you're probably doing well. Anything better than that, you're doing really well.
All right.
More?
No, I have nothing to add. All right, here we go. Next question. If you need help with the place in Rio Piedras to close, to el Ocho Blanco, I'm available. How can I get in contact? So you can get in contact with us at the flipflopflipperpr@gmail.com. If you guys want to know about mentorship, there's a program coming soon. We have gotten a lot of requests for it, and we're trying our hardest to structure this to make sure, because our key is we want you to feel like you got the most value you could out of this. We want you to walk away from that program and be able to just, hey, like me, I have the confidence now to just go out there and say, hey, I'm going to make an offer and I'm going to make an offer. And once I get one, what am I going to do with it? I'm going to be able to run here because I was given all the tools for that. Yeah. And that's why I took that leap last year. It's like, listen, how much more do I need to get started? I just need to get started. Right. You know, and I took that leap of faith and went forward. And we want to strive to make sure that we give you everything you need, all the tools, not only for here in Puerto Rico. Yes, we will have Puerto Rico centric programs, but just for anywhere. You should be able to take this anywhere. I was making a joke the other day that if you learn how to do real estate in Puerto Rico,
it gets easier everywhere else.
Mainland USA is just turn on a computer, and get it done. And that's pretty wild. But honestly, we want to give that to you guys, and we're working on it. And so if you have questions, if you have offers, if you have maybe ways that you can help us and bring value to the team, we are open to all that. So email us there at the flipflopflipperpr@gmail.com.
And as Adon said, we're going to work really hard on coming up with a way to set up this mentorship program. We want to do it in a way that we're encouraging you guys to do deals. I know a lot of theory is taught, and I'm a big fan of education, guys. I want you guys to educate yourself. That's why we put out the YouTube channel. It's one of the reasons anyway. But anything that we do as far as mentorship goes, I feel like the best way that you can learn to be a real estate investor is by being a real estate investor. And so that means we want to have it centered around actually doing deals. So
yes,
if you're around us and you're in Puerto Rico and you want to do a deal with us and you reach out to us through the community, we could possibly do something. We're doing things on the island. If you're doing deals outside of the island and you want to be mentored by us, we want to have it centered around your deals that you're doing. So
yes,
that's the way I think you learn. Adon's going to learn a ton the first time we renovate a giant mansion. Adon's already learned a ton by doing his first deal where we closed on something and then we found a buyer and we sold it on, and we did seller finance. I mean, your first set of deals, each one of them is like a semester at college.
Yes.
Right? By the time you've done 4 or 5 deals, you graduated. You're a real estate investor. Do 10 deals, you got a master's degree. So that's what we're looking for, partnering with like-minded people, encouraging people to actually go full in, become a real estate investor, which means buying real estate, not just teaching you how to go contract stuff and throw it against the wall. And there are some great courses you can take out there on the internet. And I'm not really dissing on them. just saying we do things differently here. We buy real estate. We're actually, we go all in, guys. We jump all in everything that we do, and that's what we would encourage this community to do. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's just that structure works so much better. I can sit here with a PowerPoint for 8 hours and go through it all. But until you go and touch it and offer on it and get a rejection and try again and try again and try again, it just makes everything just more streamlined.
You can watch some handsome guy called the Flip Flop Flipper tell you all day long on internet that money finds great deals. But do your first deal and see how the money comes to it, and you put it together. Then you're going to come back to that same video and go, damn, that guy was telling me money finds good deals. And it's, it's not really that hard. It's scary, right? You've never done it before. I get it. It's scary. Go for it. It's worth it.
I seen this in action, guys. I can tell you money does find good deals.
Yeah.
Because you just got something under contract the other day and closed on it. And it's like, I got the deal. You looked at me and it's like, I got the deal. Now I have to find the money.
That's the big monster, right? That I did with Jason. And so my partner on that is a really established property wholesaler in Atlanta, in the States, in Atlanta, Georgia. And I said, all right, we got it under contract. Now we got to find the money.
Yeah.
A day or two goes by and I said, Jason, have you been working on this finding the money thing? And he's like, yeah, I haven't found the money. And I said, all right, well, I'm going to find the money. I called him back the next day. I'm like, okay, I got the money. He's like, damn, that was fast. I'm like, it's a good deal. Good deals. The money finds good deals.
Oh, man, that's awesome. So here we go. Here's the next question. I think Discover Puerto Rico has been doing an amazing job promoting the island, especially the lesser known parts of the island. Where do you think will be the next tourist hotspot?
That's there's a theory going out there that it could be Ponce. If the cruise ships go to Ponce and you were to figure out where the ships are going to dock and what's the route that they're going to take through town and pull a Sharif Medawar and go buy up that street, fortunes will be made.
I didn't buy. I spoke to a realtor the other day and I was asking her, it's like, hey, do you have deals here or here or here? She's like, no. I'm like, so where do you have deals right now? Ponce is just blowing up like crazy.
We have one friend of the channel, Kimberly Jackson, who is buying in Ponce, and we've never bought in Ponce. I love the town. It's got all kinds of charm. It's got really cool buildings that are just fun to look at. So Ponce could be one. Ceiba could be another. Again,
Ceiba
this cruise ship thing is a real. When it comes to tourism, if you start bringing in 2,000 or 3,000 people on a boat and putting them off somewhere, then there's going to be money to be made. There's going to be businesses around that, and so if it's true that they're going to start bringing cruise ships to Ceiba, then I would say Ceiba is very possible. Roosevelt Roads could easily be one.
Well, those are easy because the ports, they have established ports, so they can get there, and you have ferries running in and out of there all the time. And Roosevelt Roads, like you said, that's virgin territory that they want to build. Even you told me the other day
they want to launch rockets.
They want to launch rockets out of there.
NASA wants to come. Hey.
Yeah, SpaceX, all that stuff.
Maybe SpaceX is going to come.
We need a gigafactory down here to power the island.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. The other place I would say, and this is where our first project was together, was Cerro Gordo, Vega Alta.
Yeah, beautiful beach.
It's one of the most prettiest beaches on the north side. There's a lot of beautiful beaches on all the island, but this is a really nice, safe family beach. And then the theory I had behind it, which is what I was telling the buyer, was anybody that can't buy or get access to Dorado is going to push off into Vega Alta.
You can already see it. Yeah.
Oh, there's millionaire villas all in front of the beach.
Yeah.
But there's still enough to grow there.
Yeah.
And it's a really, really, really nice beach.
Our first project that the guy Christian bought from us, he's going to build something similar to what we have in Luquillo, which is the surfing turtle. and it's a 7-room guest house. He's going to have a 9 or 11-room guest house there. He's a block from this beautiful beach. It's really a brilliant play, and he's getting 40% tax credits. A couple of other places that I really like. I love Cabo Rojo. I love Rincon. I really like Arecibo. That's one that I think could easily be the next great place for tourists. So there's just,
is that where the flip flop was?
Where the
$2.4 million hotel was? Or was that the one that started out as 1.2 and we
no, that was Aguadilla or Aguada. That
Sorry.
was Aguada up in the mountains. Yeah. No, Arecibo is Lote, is the beach, and you have Pueblo del Indio.
Oh, okay. Indio.
Yeah. Yeah. That. Really spectacular views. Guys, if you ever get to come to Puerto Rico, don't just stay in San Juan.
Please don't
just stay in San Juan. San Juan's
or
great.
Dorado or
San Juan is amazing, but rent a car, leave San Juan, drive 30-40 minutes in any direction, and you're gonna thank me. It's so beautiful when you leave San Juan and you hit that area where it's Arecibo, it's Hatillo, and then you have another one when you are up on the cliffs there overlooking like Isabella. Oh my gosh. And it just keeps getting better. It's like you're looking at this water going, I can't believe the water's that color.
Yeah.
And then the next time you're like, oh my God, I've never seen water that looked like that.
I've never seen beautiful. Pink water, blue water, orange, like it's crazy.
We've got it.
One more place I would say is Yabucoa. I used to take tours when I was doing the tour stuff. I used to take people up there.
Yeah.
And there are some really nice hidden beaches around there. And then the beauty part is you have patillas and everything that goes down that backside.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Check it out.
So that's such a great question, though, too. Where's the next tourist spot for
Puerto Rico?
Island. It's the whole island. And Puerto Rico is doing a good job of promoting itself and promoting tourism. And this is really new, right? Like, so Puerto Rico decided not to be a tourist destination for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And only today, only 6% of the GDP is based around tourism. So we hear all the time that all of this tourism stuff is going to make Puerto Rico like Hawaii. Guys, this is just fantasy land. Hawaii's economy is close to 90% based on tourism. Puerto Rico's economy is 6% based on tourism, and they want to double it to 15%. But to think that the stuff that's happening on the island of Puerto Rico through tourism is going to turn it into Hawaii, this is just complete nonsense. And I don't mean to offend people, but just look at the math, right? Everything that happens on the islands in Hawaii is tourism. If there's no tourism, there's no economy, there's nothing. And it's not even close. Like the highest one is tourism, and then the next 3 highest ones all have to do with tourism when it comes to how they make their money on the island. Here, we're not a tourism destination. Up until 2-3 years ago, nobody even thought to come to Puerto Rico. They thought, I'll go to the Bahamas, or I'll go to Jamaica, I'll go to
European vacation,
but even if you're going to go to the Caribbean, Puerto Rico's sort of last on the list. And the truth is, it should be first on the list.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico offers more beauty and nature and everything. Puerto Rico has got it going on. Plus, good infrastructure, even though, maybe the roads aren't as good as they are in Florida. We still have relatively good roads, relatively good power and water.
The power's getting better. Everything's getting better. It's just a slower pace.
Yeah.
And
so that was my little rant, though, because I hear all the time, these investors are going to turn us into Hawaii. That it's not going to happen.
No,
and I invest a lot in tourism, so I'm not saying that that tourism's not on the rise, because it is, but it's just never going to be Hawaii.
Yeah, and someone said it the other day. I don't know who, but like the island. If you were to compare all the Caribbean islands to Puerto Rico has some of the better infrastructure for everything, for tourism, power, water,
better airports, better roads, better power, better water. Everything's kind of better. Yeah. I would even go so far as to say I've been to many of the other islands. I don't think anything's even comes close.
Yeah, it would be tough.
There's some beautiful places, but there's there's not anything that's putting Puerto Rico to shame. Puerto Rico's got beautiful spots. So yeah.
All right, here we go. Next question. I do commercial roofing in PA, but if I flew down for a week or two this spring, summer, could I meet you guys to look at properties or two? Of course, reach out to us. Here is the email one more time, Samuel. It is the flipflopflipper@gmail.com. There is a need here for people that are just have a great trade, roofing, electricity, plumbing. If you're
interested in bringing your roofing business to Puerto Rico, you'll be the most popular guy around town.
Yes.
Like there are some great roofing companies. My friend Patrick has the second largest roofing contracting company on the island. He does a tremendous amount of business, but he will tell you he turns down jobs every single week because he can't get to it all.
Wow.
So, and he's got a pretty big company, 100 guys putting roofs on things, and he does all the Walmarts on the island. He does most of the malls. He does some really big fun stuff, and he has to turn things down more often than he gets to take them. So
that's crazy.
Bring your roofing contractor business. In fact, if you're a contractor of anything, a plumber, an electrician,
doesn't matter.
A carpenter, whatever, bring it
down.
Let's go.
Johnny, I see here you can help us. Then again, reach out at the email. We would love to talk to you, especially now. I'm investing more time into training new camera guys, new editors, everything.
Our team's growing
because we need the growth. We are trying to push out content. We're trying to be just you're gonna see us everywhere. There's nowhere that you won't see us. You'll see us on Facebook, you'll see us on Instagram, you'll see us on YouTube. There is nowhere you can hide that the flip-flop flipper won't find you.
and Johnny, if you have a skill set that can help us and you're interested in learning about real estate, we really do want to hear from you. We want to talk. We're trying to grow this team. We are a small YouTube channel, but we really do think it's going to grow over time. Yeah. And we see a shift coming in the way that we will make money over the next 4, 5, 10 years. And doing this online social media stuff is something that's a big part of our plan. So
100%.
We're never going to not be real estate investors because that's what we know. That's what we love. That's what I literally jump out of bed every morning to get to go do what I do. But this has become part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you follow us at all, you see we're pretty consistent about putting out content. We actually put out a lot of content. I think for the size of our channel, people would say, man, and I do hear this, like, how do you do this? I'm like, well, I got it on. We just don't sleep.
Yeah. There's no good thing. There's no lack of good coffee on the island. I can find good coffee anytime. It's really good
that we figured out how to have 36 hours in a day.
Yeah. That is definitely.
You've been on Tuesday all week.
Yeah, I've been stuck on Tuesday all week. So that's the email, Johnny. Reach out there and let's get in contact. Let's do some stuff, man. Here we go.
And back to the last question about the guy from PA that's the roofer. Would love to get a coffee. Would love to show you around the island.
100%.
So please email us. Let us know your travel plans. Also, we have some places for you to stay, right? So send me an email. We'll give you a good rate. We've got places in Luquillo all the way through San Juan and out to Rincon. Over the next 18 months or so, that's going to grow. So,
well, not, and it's just, this is a little bit off topic, but you driving people around, especially last year, for me was an eye opener. It's like, it's so much easier to validate this is what's going on the island and this is how the growth is going when you can drive a person that knows nothing, that is scared because they think this is just a shantytown island or something like that.
Yeah.
And you drive around like, that building, we bought it, and then look everything that's growing around it. Not necessarily saying the impact is because of that building, but even today, you know where my grandfather lives.
Yes.
And you know that you have a friend there that bought a house there. That's one of the worst neighborhoods, even when I was growing up. And your friend bought that house there, fixed it up.
Yeah.
And now, if you go back right now, there's like 4 or 5 houses that are matching that house now. And it's starting to look really, really nice. And people are painting their houses, and they're starting to take that pride back into I want to live somewhere nice. I don't need to live in a fucking shanty town. This looks, what is the word I'm looking for? It's just bad.
The building that you're talking about was actually impacted by Hurricane Maria. It was one of the first properties I looked at when we came to the island, and we didn't buy it. Like 3 years later, they had finally taken the tree off of it and dug it out from under this giant thing that had fallen on it. And we ended up purchasing it, and we renovated it, and we sold it to our friend Tia, who then ripped everything that we did out, expanded the house, really spent some money.
Yeah, it's a big house now.
We bought this place for like 35 grand, and it's probably a $500,000 house right now.
Yeah.
Now, it's had a lot of money invested.
Yeah.
It went from 5 units, and it was really 3 with 2 really small units, but it went from 5 to 7 or 8. I think
he's finishing the roof now.
He's finishing. I mean, so he's done a lot.
Yes.
And then he had friends actually come in and start buying things next to him because they're like, yeah, they want to be in the same area and stuff. And your grandfather lives right there, and
today I was driving there. I was taking my dad to pick up his my grandpa's car. Yeah. And I was driving. I'm like, man, I don't like, look, that's you. It's like, whoa, this is getting better back here. Yeah. Like now I see it, and I'm like, man, how can I get back here? The before we went down, there's a 7 or 8 unit they're selling right there, but they're not. You know what? You want to know what they're asking for? And it's got a wooden roof, and it looks like it blew off. Take a guess.
350.
375. Yes. And it's just like, you look at it and it's like, I'm not paying 375 for this. But hey, you never know. So here we go. Another question from Michael K. I do make a 10 to 12 cap in Airbnb, but I don't know anything else except Airbnb. I want to learn how to renovate a value add. Now, when I see distressed properties, I'm scared of the renovations.
Yeah, I get it. So, first of all, I get it, right? And it's not for everybody. It's certainly, there are higher returns when you're a value add investor, but there is more risk, and it can go. So on some of our projects here in Puerto Rico, we've had, well, I'll just say on Kaihor, where we're gonna renovate a beautiful building, but because it was historical, we've had a year-long delay. We're finally starting to get close to having that thing completed, and then we'll have the revenues that we expected, and they're going to be great. But we had $1 million out for an entire year that didn't make any money. Oof. So that really sucks.
Oof, that's gotta hurt.
So now I've got to make 24% next year to have made 12% for the 2 years, right?
Yeah.
Luckily, I think we'll probably be at around 30% a year on the building once we're finished, and so we'll make it up. And in this case, we're going to get some tourism tax credits, and that will help.
Yeah.
But there is a higher return for a higher risk. And then there's something else. To buy something based on an Airbnb valuation and get a 10 or 12 cap, or even if you're buying something at an Airbnb price and you're making a 15 cap, the fear that I have is different than Michael's. Is what happens if Airbnb goes away?
Ooh.
So now you've got to pivot, make it a long-term rent,
and
your return's going to go way down.
And that's if you're not arbitraging. Then now
if you're not what?
Arbitraging.
Arbitrage, yeah. So that's if you're owning it.
Yeah, like if you own it, you can pivot, you can make that decision. But what if you're just renting?
What if you put all your money into someone else's property and then Airbnb goes away? So
that is scary.
And we see this in Orlando, in Orange County.
Yeah,
they passed a law that said you can't do Airbnb with a single family home. You have to live in the property that you're doing the Airbnb with in order to be in the code. So I think that was a horrible decision to make, but that's the decision they made. So if you had a bunch of Airbnb houses,
it's not good.
You can't live in them all.
Yeah.
So now what do you do?
I don't know.
I really get concerned about buying things based off of Airbnb cap rates. I much prefer to buy things based off of long-term rent cap rates and change it to Airbnb. I actually prefer to go a step below that. I like to buy something that has no cap rate and value add, and then turn it into either long-term rents or to Airbnb.
That's what I was gonna add to what you were saying. Like, I think the scarier part is not even the renovation side; it's knowing that you bought it well. Because if you didn't buy it well, that's the scary part.
Yeah,
you're like, oh fuck, what do I do now? I'm not making. I might not even break even because after I pay this realtor, after I pay this, and I got to pay my hard money guy back, what am I making here? You know, like that's the scarier part.
I would say one thing is that maybe it's easier to get loans on a single Airbnb condo down in Isla Verde. It probably is, and so that at least gives you some risk. That at least gives you some help with risk, right? Some offset on risk if you can borrow from the bank. If the bank will lend you money on something, then you can be pretty sure that it's not going to drastically cut down in its value anytime soon. They're pretty sharp, especially here in Puerto Rico. They're pretty sharp.
That's great to know. Here we got another question. What is your 5 to 10 year prediction for real estate appreciation in Puerto Rico? An optimistic and pessimistic guess.
Thanks for the question. I'm all in on Puerto Rico real estate, and I would say that my optimistic estimate is that we 5 to 10x on many assets over the next 10 years. Sort of pessimistic, we only 2 to 5x. Now again, I come at this from a value add investment, and we do a lot of stuff where we're changing the use from something that's really low today to something that's going to have much higher use. And I'm not talking about housing in general, right? Like, so do I think that a single family house in Rio Piedras is going to go from $300,000 to $3 million? No, I'm not saying that. I don't think that. But there are assets on the island. There are buildings on Juan Ponce de Leon, which is right out here. They're distressed today that have no revenues coming in, that are going to be renovated, and they're going to be brought to their highest and best use, whatever that is, whether it's office, retail, or restaurant, or hospitality. And I think those assets can easily 10x in 10 years, 5 to 10 years. Easily.
That. Especially all the amount of businesses coming down here.
Yeah. And I think housing is going to go up too. I think if you buy something right now that is a working class house, it's going to appreciate. It's going to appreciate nicely for the next 5 years.
I like this. I'll let you read that.
San Juan's the only first world city in the Caribbean. That's what our friend says, right?
Adam Greenfield.
That's what Adam says.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
He says San Juan's the only first world country in the Caribbean. I've never really lived in a city until now I live in San Juan. I've always lived out sort of in the suburbs of things. Yeah. So for me, yeah, this is city. I mean, there's theaters,
you walk everywhere.
Commerce, you walk, there's buses.
Yes.
It's pretty fun. I don't think it's a big city like New York. Certainly not as fast paced and all of that.
No, but you see growth. You see
growth.
You're right here. We're in the heart of the business district. If you drive to the back, you have the Milla de Oro, which is the Golden Mile.
The Golden Mile.
All the banks used to be there. Everything's there. You know, the big stuff is around here. And you can have it all on this island. You can get a city type vibe in San Juan. You can get a desert kind of feel in Ponce, Salinas. You can go to the number one bio bay in the world in Vieques, Puerto Rico. You can go and swim with the manatees in Condado. You can see turtles everywhere. If you want to go see sharks, like there's no. Oh, and if you want to go see rivers with gold, there's also that too.
You said I didn't know there was a gold rush here. I want to say too, I don't think Puerto Rico is really in any part of it as a third world type situation.
No.
I hear that often. Like when I told people that I was going to move here, they're like, "Oh, you're moving to a third world country.
You're moving to Mexico? Where is that?"
And this is not that.
No.
This really isn't very different at all from living in Orlando, Florida. To me. The power goes out more often, and there are potholes. You can't miss them all.
Especially now in Orlando, you got more Puerto Ricans there than you have.
Well, I mean, not even just that the people are great here, but I'm just saying this is still for me. This is
Kissimmee, Florida is where they got all the Puerto Ricans.
This is as good as when I was living in Denmark. I mean, you have everything. We've got a Home Depot. We've got a Costco. We've got Walmart. We have everything.
Yeah.
I think all the comforts you need. The comment is about the other islands in the Caribbean really don't have anything like that.
No.
Go to Barbados. Go to Antigua. Go to the Bahamas. There's not a Home Depot generally. There's not even really a Walmart in most of these places. So this is a place where you can move and live on a tropical island, and it is first world.
Yes. Well, guys, we're reaching that last little bit. If you have any more questions, now is the time. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and share this to your friends. If you think you got value, let us know. Say yes in the comments. You got value. And what else can I say? Oh, so remember, next week, Monday we have a live, Wednesday we have a live, and Friday we have a live. Stay tuned for Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll be dropping long content on there. And reach out to us on Facebook, the Flip Flop Flipper. No, sorry, Facebook is still PR Consultants.
Okay.
But on Instagram, the Flip Flop Flipper. On Twitter, the Flip Flop Flipper, or Flip Flop Rob. And
Flip Flop Robert.
Flip Flop Robert. Yeah. I thought it was funny. And then
I've been hearing that lately. Somebody said to me today, "You're the Flip Flopper."
The Flip Flopper.
Okay, great.
Hey, we got to get you back in the flip flops. Well, guys, that's our time. We appreciate you joining us. It's really been awesome.
Hey, I want to just say, if you like what you do, help us grow this community. Share this stuff. Help us to get it out there. I think we really do try to put value out there. So we would love for anyone who's watching it to be a part of our community, and hopefully we could do a deal together or whatever. But it starts with hitting that subscribe button. Maybe share this video for us. That would be great.
Oh,
you got a new question?
Someone had I think we'll end it on this. Do you have any plans to do any events like meetups, etc., like the crypto people? Yes, Ash, we do. We are working on that. We're working hopefully on a live event. So we're going to have a Zoom event very, very soon. It's going to be very limited. We're going to probably have about 20 people join us in that Zoom event. And from there, we're going to have a live event in one of
a live meetup, maybe in Rincon
or in Luquillo, either or.
We've got some options, and we hope to do that before the end of the summer.
It's going to be great. And like I said, we're working on all this stuff to try to build a mentorship. We're to build a program that everybody can just find extreme value in. We want you to take this and not feel like you wasted your time. We want you to take and run with it. And like Robert said, we don't want to just hold your hand through the process. We want you to jump and go get that deal. Go say, hey, I found this deal. Do you think this is a good deal? Yes or no? Why not? And we'll break that down for you. That's what we want to give you. It's just that confidence to be, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to get this deal. And I know where I can present it to tell me, hey, this is a good deal. You should run with this 100%.
Yep.
So guys, thank you so much for your time. We're excited that you guys were here and spent your time today. I know it's Friday. You guys should be partying, drinking, but it's always good to learn about real estate and how to make money, right? So there's the email one more time, the flipflopflipper@pr.com. Fuck. The flipflopflipper PR@gmail.com.
See, he gets mad at me when I mess it up.
Yes, I do get mad.
It's not that easy.
That's why I'm mad. I'm mad at myself. We're going to make that email shorter. I'll work on it. But that's the email. Reach out there. If you have any skill sets, if you want to learn about deals, if you want to talk to us directly, that's the spot.
We're going to train everybody to send us emails at that, and then we're going to shorten it up. And
we're going to fuck it all up.
We're going to have a new
email.
Flip-flop flipper email.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good night.
All right.